Welcome, everyone. If you're watching this live right now, we're going to start in just a few minutes. The Assessment Apps TILO Presents session with Fran Reddick. We'll be starting in just a few minutes. Okay, I think we're ready to get started here. My name is Carrie Rassack, and I am the moderator for today's session for the TILO Presents Assessment Apps with Fran Reddick. In just a moment, we'll get started with the session that should last about an hour. And first of all, again, thanks to Fran for volunteering to present today, and also to all of you who signed up to watch this live and or recorded. Just make sure that at the end of watching or watching the recording that you fill out the evaluation form that is linked on the event page. You'll also get an email with that as well. So we'd appreciate your feedback. And the last thing I want to mention is that at the end, we'll show a few more of the events coming up on our TILO events calendar. So stay tuned for that as well if you're not familiar with that link. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Fran and have her let her do her own introduction and show you some more about some assessment apps. Fran?
Hey, how are you? I hope all is going well. My name is Fran Reddick, and the name of my company is Really Smart Services. I've been doing professional development for about 16 years, and I started with smartboards, which I still do, but I also do a lot of other teaching for schools, and I specifically do a lot in differentiation. And one of the ways to best differentiate is to use assessment and formative assessments. What I'd like to do today is kind of go through with you a few things. And the way I set this up is using Pinterest. If you look at the bottom of the page here, you'll see where there's Pinterest/Fran Reddick assessments. And if you click on, if you put that into your browser, you will be where I am on my screen. And I can show you then what I did. This workshop I did for the Lakewood City Schools about a month ago, and it was very well received because the teachers liked the idea of having a central place where they could share information and then see what other people were doing, which was kind of the impetus for setting this up in Pinterest. So you can either go to Pinterest directly or you can just watch what I'm going to do. You'll notice here that I have just a page that is set up, and it's on formative assessments. I love infographics, and I found this one, and I think it's very, very well done. It talks about, you know, the process and kind of what we did when we didn't have technology. You know, how were we figuring out what, you know, did the kids get it? Did they know what was going on? Were we able to then move on to the next thing? Everybody, I'm sure, has done exit tickets of one form or another. We certainly, you know, going back many years, you know, we always did pair and share. A lot of people use that thumbs up, thumbs down. One of the things I just saw recently was somebody in a classroom did a really nice thing with just basically page protectors that she had posted on the door, and it looked like the Facebook thumbs up or, you know, and thumbs down so that students could put their questions in. You know, we've done the colored paper, the red, yellow, green. A lot of people have done lots of things with, you know, having students summarize. All of that, I think, is a really great way to, you know, find out where kids are and to do them and to assess. Some of the people, I think, have now gone, you know, and some of the technologies have made it a whole lot easier. If you have a smart board or a Promethean board or a Mimeo or whatever, all of those softwares now have the ability for you to have some interactivity. I know that in Smart version 15, they speak directly to the Chromebooks. And so you can link your Chromebook right up, and so that the responses will pop up right on your interactive whiteboard. But if you don't have that, you still can do all kinds of other types of formative assessments. Some of the most, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on Google because I know Eric and a bunch of other people are doing lots of things on Google's Forms. But there are a lot of polling software, a lot of your hardware, like the smartboard has a polling feature in it. But some of them that I'm going to talk about today are Socrative. If people know what that is, you know, you can always do it with Twitter. Have the kids actually put in a feed. VoiceThread is a new one that was new to me just recently, which is really nice because it's all audio and the kids can just ask their questions verbally, which if you have kids that are, you know, having some issues with typing or things like that, they basically send you an audio message. You know, everybody's got a camera in their phone now, and you know, taking a picture of what you just did, you can't beat that. The picture is worth 1,000 words. Infused Learning is another site that you can use. A lot of people, of course, are using their phones, but a lot of people have rules where they can't use their phones. It depends on your school. But a lot of people have been using different forms to use their phones and let the kids share information that way. Some people like to use Twitter. I'm not a big fan of Twitter, but some people have been using that a lot. I want to do a shout out to this Pam Jameson who created this this nice infographic, and I think it was just really helpful. So what I want to do now is take you over to my actual Pinterest site so that you, or we already are on my Pinterest site, and you can see some of the things that I have on here. And one of the things I'm going to do is go through some of these. And so if you look, and if you subscribe to this Pinterest sheet, this page, you can look at all the pins that I've got on here. A lot of the teachers from Lakewood have been adding other pins to it. And you can see as I scroll down here that there's lots of things and lots of helpful tools for assessment. And so I thought I would just share this with everybody. This is me in June. This was me in August. It's now December, so maybe you're someplace in the middle there, but we hope we don't get to look like that at the end. So what I'd like to do now is talk a little bit about some of the things that are on here in a little greater detail, and you can always just refer back to this. One of them that I use a lot, what I thought was really well done, is looking at assessments that other people have found to be helpful. And so if you look at this one here with the, where I made the rainbow circle here, it says, let's get acquainted and get formative. I thought the group that did put this together did a really good job of looking at different types of assessments. And I think that they hit some of the less common ones. And obviously we know what a formative assessment is, that it's that tool for driving our instruction through feedback. And it certainly lets students identify their strengths and weaknesses, which if you're trying to differentiate in your classroom, it's really important that you have lots of ways that the students can show you that they've gained the knowledge. So what this is several different sites that I found that I think are really good to use, and some people know about a lot of these and some people do not. And I'm going to kind of give you my pros and cons of each, of what I like about them or I don't like about them. And then it's up to you to pick the ones that will work for you. If you're a Google school, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. I mentioned, I forgot to mention earlier that if everyone wants to leave a Q&A, a question for you, they can leave that over in the Q&A section. If they're watching it live in Google+, there's a Q&A. If you mouse over to the left side, you can press that and enter a question there.
Okay.
That's all.
That's great. Some of them that are, some of the ones that a lot of people know about is Kahoot. Kahoot's a very common one that I think a lot of people may have already tried. Basically, when you go to Kahoot, it's going to help you create, you basically can create a game, or you can go in and you can input the PIN number and then it'll take you to whatever the teacher has created. Kahoot has a lot of support. I think their tutorials are extremely helpful. And Kahoot's one of those that if you don't have a device for everybody, you can set it up so that when the students log on, they're logging on, and different people could go to different stations. So let's say I don't have a classroom set of computers or devices. I have, let's say, a set of stations. I can use Kahoot, and then I can bring them up there, and the students can move around the room. What I like about Quizzes is that it allows you to put questions in almost on the fly. It's very similar to Kahoot, but when you set up the questions, you can embed those questions right into it. And so you can put those questions in and they will pop up. A pretty well-known one is Socrative. Socrative is really nice because it is very rich. There's a lot of features to Socrative. And if you go to, they have more features. They have polling. They have different items that the student can just put in their code, and then they can go and they'll be in whatever the teacher has created. But it's really nice that it has quizzing, it has polling, it has real-time information that you can pull up. And I think they have some of the best tutorials as well. And I finally have found that I think that it seems to me that the 9 to 12 teachers seem to like Socrative better than the younger ones. So this is their word cloud page, and then they call it the Socrative Garden. But they have a lot of support that, let's say, some of the other let's say sites or some of the other tools don't have quite as many as let's say Socrative does. Nearpod is great because it has the ability for the teachers for you to share information and project it off of any student device right up onto your screen. And that's a phenomenal way. If you have kids working on something, you can show one child's work, you could show a group work. Those are, I think, really helpful. The next one here is called That Quiz. This one seems to like that it sets up more. It's a little bit different in the way it sets up. It seems to be much more math oriented. But what's nice about this is that they give you a lot of tools that you can create your own individual, individual documents, which is a little bit different than some of the other ones. See, for example, if this is what they have a bunch, and they have a lot of pre-made ones that you can then take their pre-made quiz, and then you can add or delete questions. And that's really helpful. That's one that I think is very easy to use. Edpuzzle is another one that you can, and what I like about this one is I like to use this for like additional classes or classes within classes and like subgroups. And so you can, and what's nice about this one is that it allows you to have the students create videos. And you actually can you can take a video that either you have found, and it allows you to edit it so that the students can watch those small videos. But then it also allows you to put in additional questions. So you can see, like in this case, they have videos, and then you can trim that video and you can make just snippets. And I think this is one of the easiest web devices or websites to do this sort of thing. I mean, if you are pretty accomplished in using all your video tools, you can do your own. But this one is just so easy to use that you can then make snippets, and then after the snippets are made, you can then go ahead. I'm just going to do this one so it'll show you, it'll take you to the next one. So I've shortened my video. And then it'll come up and it says, now do you want to insert a question? So I can go ahead and I can put questions right in on the video. So maybe I want to add vocabulary, maybe I want to add specific questions that I want them to complete in a journal, or I want them to have the questions that are going to be on the test, like a practice test. I can input those right into my device. And so it's I find this one to be extremely, extremely helpful. And Typeform is basically a very easy way to make forms. If you're already a Google Form user, then you probably don't need this. But if you want to create your own assessment, if you're, let's say, not a Google school and you're not using those tools, this one allows you to go ahead and play a video, let's say. And then you can see here on the materials, it asks you questions, and you can set these up, and the kids basically log in, and then students can put information in. So like this one's all about moon activity and planets and that. And so you can set these up so that the kids go, in this case, they're going to go to stations, but then they answer their questions, and then they immediately say, it'll show what their level of confidence is. So this one's just a little bit different. It's a little different than Google Forms, but again, it's one that you can certainly try. Depending on what other hardware you have, I mean, you may still have clickers in your room, or you may have software. Poll Everywhere is great because you can do it in class or out of class. So if you're thinking about doing flipped classroom, or you're moving parts of your classroom in that direction, you can use the Poll Everywhere feature, and it's immediate, it's live, and you can just literally set it up so that you can do on-the-fly polling. I personally love on-the-fly polling. I think it's a great way whenever you're doing any kind of a whole group. Like I personally use whole group only a very small amount. But if I'm going to use the whole group, I want to like get them in, get them started, get them engaged, and then let them move on to whatever work they're going to do. So that's a really good tool. Another Edueto, I don't even know if I'm saying that right. It allows you to create assessments, again, that can be viewed on any device. It's just another one that's out there. And Padlet has an awful lot of pre-made organizers, and that's what I really like about that one, is that you can set up and then you can answer questions. Just a regular tool. But you can put a lot of information. I think Padlet is great for when you're at the beginning of a project, or when the students are just pulling information together. This allows them to pull these tools together and then, keep track of their information. Now, if you don't have, let's say, a classroom set, these are two that I think are really powerful. Stick Pick is the only one that I put on here that is got a fee to it. It's a whopping $2.99. But if you ever remembered walking around a classroom with a can and having kids pick out sticks, so like who's going to answer the next question, this Stick Pick one is really helpful because it also then goes back to your phone, or your tablet. So if you only have one computer, or you only have one tablet in your room, then you can see how this looks on you can put it right onto your phone or to your tablet. You have your list of your classes, and then you can have the, pick a stick, or you can hand this device to a kid, have them shake it, and it picks a stick. So it's just a nice, I think it's something different. And if you don't have a lot of technology, I didn't want to, have everything on here that required full classroom sets of technology to be effective. And this other one is clickers. And I think these are so much fun that it will work on either device. Basically, it's creating these QR codes. And what's really nice is that you can then print off these. So you basically set up your class, and you see how this large box here, you're basically creating a QR code. And then the kids actually can hold up their information, their responses using that, and then you can take a picture of it. So you see how on this one where it says Plickers, the teacher has their phone, and then the kids, I don't know if it's really viewable in this background, but basically you pan across your classroom and the kids are holding up these little QR codes, and it's really, then it gathers the information and it does the assessment. I've seen several teachers use it, and the kids just love it. And they get all excited when you tell them that they've got to hold up the stuff and that you're basically taking a picture of their responses. And then the student, you'll know exactly who got the answer right. And it makes you kind of like a little seating chart on your phone, so you can see what each kid responded. But it's obviously very private because the only person who's seeing it is you. Now, if I was doing this, I would probably use the Plickr, and then I would use Nearpod, and I would project everything up onto my screen. But that's just me. And I think the last one I have on here is Flip Quiz. This I have two more here. Flip Quiz. This is a Jeopardy style, and if you don't have a Jeopardy game already on your whiteboard, or if you use the PowerPoint one, this is a nice one of another way of kind of doing a Jeopardy game. My only caution that I would give to you is that don't just get stuck with one of these. I was at a school and they taught everybody how to use Edmodo, and then everybody used Edmodo. The kids were so sick of it, they'd say, okay, now go to Edmodo. And the kids were like, oh, really? Do we have to? Because they just got sick of it. So, I mean, I gave you so many here that you can try that, you may want to start creating your own little list of different formative assessment tools that that you could try. I'm just going to go back to this one here, which we started on Flip Quiz. You can see how you've got this game, and then you can see it looks a lot like a regular Jeopardy game. And so now you've got your question here. A strong, closely woven fabric, which is often used as a surface for painting, is called a, and then the answer will come up, it's a canvas. So you can do this, and what's nice is if you do have students in multiple areas, then you can, they don't have to always be in your classroom sitting, in whole group. You can set these up, or you can have, what I always like to do is have the kids make up the games as the study guide. And they seem to like that very well. And if you have, your higher achievers and they run out of things to do, you can always send them off to something like this and tell them to create the game. And that's very helpful. And Flippity is another one that's a Jeopardy style. It's kind of like a game show. I'm not going to show you that one. If you like the other one, you'll like this one too. And Tri-Sider is another polling one. And so you can set up, but what's nice about this one is that it allows you to have a blog feature, and you can set people up in teams, and you can move the teams around. You can set up, like if you were doing like, if I don't know if they have this in other areas of the state, but here in Cleveland, they have a show called Academic Challenge. And the kids can, it's a high school, television show, and it's 3 or 4 kids on a team. And so you can set up those teams, and then they get their ideas together, and then you can vote. So This is something that was on my Pinterest page. I think it's ones that you can try. If you scroll down here on my assessment page, you can see all these ones that other people have used, and they've put other types of examples together so that, you know, some of them have like the how-tos. This one on lighter side of Google, I just found this one yesterday. It has some cute things that you can do with Google that I didn't even know about. If you want to laugh, I like to show this one to students. If teachers acted like students, kind of to get them, and it's a kid being the teacher and then the students, and I think it's really fun. It kind of like drives home the idea that, you know, we're all human here, and we don't want, you know, we want to play well together. There's a lot of times people will put up different types of forms. This is one that people have used for Socratic. And there's a number of different ones here for technology that I thought would be helpful that people might want to use. So you can see here, I didn't spend a lot of time on Google Forms because I know you guys probably will get that from other people. Just the one thing I will say about Google and Google Flubaroo, which used to be an add-on, which is the quiz taking, is now a part. Google has made that an actual part of the Google Forms, so you no longer have to download that separately. And I put in here like how to create a Kahoot, which is nice, because sometimes we just need that extra, like, how do you do this? A lot of schools, you know, who are Microsoft, you're going to have the Evernote. So the great thing about Evernote is that it captures everything. And there's a really nice feature in there to allow you to create a portfolio or have the students create a portfolio of their work, which is really helpful. And then these are the ones, some of them, the Plickers. And Pick Me is a lot like the Stick one. It's an app that you can download. So I put a bunch of different things up here, and as teachers start to work with this, I have found that they're adding their own, and sometimes I'll go back to this page and there'll be new things that people have added in there. So at this point, I've talked for a good half hour here, and if you have questions, I'd be happy to answer those. If you don't, then we can talk about some additional items. Woo! So if anybody has any questions, I'm here to answer them.
Yeah, so far, Fran, we don't have any in the Q&A. Again, those of you watching on the Google Plus site, in the actual Hangout here on the left side, if you mouse over, you should see a Q&A button you can click, and on that you can then enter your question. So if you have any questions, you can enter it there, or even on the event page itself, you can add a post in the Say Something box.
Well, either I was so overwhelming that, or I just talked really fast.
No. Let's give it a moment or two here. There's a lot of things there to digest, so that's good. You can always come back to more. That's why it's good that these are recorded. Okay, I'll wait a few more moments.
If not, I'll go back and talk about some of the other things that are on. I've got all kinds of them that I found.
Yeah, Fran.
What I'm hoping. Go ahead.
Yeah, I had one question on that. So, is there a way for others to add pins on that page too, or is that just you now adding things?
No, if they go to that page, they can add them as well.
Okay,
and
great.
I set it up that way so that teachers can, you know, basically use this as their resource site. And if people are interested, you know, in adding more or sharing it with other teachers in their group, or in their learning community, then other people can add to it as well.
Great. I'll wait here to see if there's anything else that's come up. Yeah, if you just want to go back in, Fran, I don't see anything else coming up. We've got a few more minutes, and then I only need about 5 minutes for closing. So whenever you're all finished, I'll take it back over.
Okay. Okay. Well, some of the ones that are that I find to be a lot of teachers like to use is this alternatives for exit tickets. And what's really nice is
You want
that
to share your screen again, Fran?
Oops, did I not do that? I'm sorry. Aha, thank you. Is it made kind of a funny
Yeah.
Did we lose it?
No, I think you're good now.
Okay. This is a whole site on exit tickets, and I think a lot of people look for different ways to you know, use an exit ticket so that they can figure out if the students are kind of with them, especially if you've had your class break out into smaller groups. I think a lot of times it's hard to get everybody back together and to debrief. And this one is, it's called Exit Ticket. And if you have devices, then you can put this right onto the student device. And you can see how this looks. The teacher asks questions and can set them up, and it very quickly allows you to go on, set up a set of questions, and then it gathers the data. I find this one was a really nice one that that people liked. And I'm all into free, so I try to not find things that people have to pay for. But if your school has an LMS, it's probably good to look at how that LMS is set up, that learning management system, and it may have some additional ways for you to use and create your own formative assessment. This great formative assessment tool one, I'm going to open this one up. There's a couple on here that are, oh, I hit the wrong thing, that are, I think, really good for teachers as well. Socrative seems to be the big one that everybody has got, and Kahoot are the big ones that a lot of people use. But there are other ones as well. If you're questioning whether a particular formative assessment tool is one that you think would be good, I will take you to, this is called Common Sense, provides this website called graphite.org. And they are a clearinghouse, if you will, for where teachers go in and they actually grade different pieces, you know, different websites, different Web 2.0 websites, and they will give you kind of a feedback on it. Some of these are not free, some of them are subscription, so that's why I didn't do those first. Infuse Learning has one as well that has a lot of information, but you can see if you're on this Graphite site, they give you a whole review of like the pros and cons of using a particular you know, piece of software. So like this one will tell you, this one's made for, definitely works great with BYOD. They thought it had a pretty good rating. Graphite, you know, 4 out of 5 stars, which probably is pretty good. This one is free. It's a website based, which makes life a whole lot easier. It's what's nice is that it's real-time assessment. Basically works for one-to-one. This one where they kind of talk about, you know, maybe this isn't always possible. It's basically only works where every teacher has access to his or her own tablet or smartphone. If the teacher doesn't have it, then this one maybe not be one that you would select. And usually they'll give a bunch of things about pedagogy. They'll talk about how does the company support and troubleshoot. And sometimes with a lot of these new sites that come out, they're not terribly stable. And so you actually try to, you start to use it and then the thing crashes. So before I would actually try, not the ones that I showed you because they're pretty common, but if somebody says, oh, try this, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Before I would do it, I would go to the graphite.org website and I would see if it has an editorial review. Also on this one, they have a few other ones that I thought were, Kahoot we've already talked about. It's definitely game-based. It's creative. Turnitin, because Google Docs now has a feature that you can turn it in if you're using Google. You don't need to have a separate item on Turnitin, but Turnitin is great for you to turn things, to have, if you don't have Google, this is a great one to use. What's also nice about Turnitin is it has a plagiarism checker. So if students are doing creative writing or doing research writing, you can actually run the things that are in this through a plagiarism filter. Always nice to have. You never know when you're going to need it. Poll Everywhere, we talked a little bit about it. If you do have the ability to offer direct any type of back channel, so if you have, let's say you have somebody doing a presentation and it comes, what today's Meet does is it allows them, just like here where you can put in the Q&A to the side, today's Meet will allow you to kind of do posts, so the kids can post while somebody else is giving a presentation. It's just another way to do that. Back channel chat, say that 3 times, is another one that you have students can enter, but they don't have to put a lot of information in. It's a very easy kind of on the fly. And the Go Soapbox, this is one that I think looked really fun when I was looking at it, because it has what I call they call it a confusion barometer, which of course I was often confused in school. So I could click on that and I would be able to pop my question right up. And so the teacher would be able to see that while they're presenting, if you're in a whole group. A great one for, I think, students a little older is Blend Space, because it allows students to create their own learning environment, as well as the teacher can create a learning environment, which is a little bit of different. And Collaborize is the same kind of thing. So let me click on Blend Space, which is one that's pretty popular. But it's not terribly interactive. It's definitely much more where you're posting stuff and it's for delivering the content. It's not interactive. This is not a Web 2.0 site. It's where you can actually put stuff on there and then other people can view it. It's great for putting together, for students to put together presentations and things like that. So as of right now, I think that's pretty much covers, you can all go to this Pinterest site and you can play with a lot of what I've put together here. But if anybody has any questions, I would be thrilled to answer them.
Okay, Fran, thank you. I don't see any questions right now. I do appreciate your time, though. This is a lot of great information.
Well, I hope that people can pull it together, and feel free to add to this pin board.
Definitely. That'll be a great resource. Okay. If anyone has any questions, we've got another couple minutes. Fran, I'm going to take over that, and if you want to mute your microphone at the top there, I will go and share my screen here.
All right.
Just want to point out on the event page, there is an evaluation link. If you all could complete that, that'd be fabulous. Okay. And we'll move this over to this page here. Here is the event page, and if you scroll down the event page, just over here on the left side, we have the session evaluation that you can click on to go. All right. And up here I've got, just so you know, what it is a brief evaluation, nice and simple. I'll point that out. And also, off of the TILO main website or web page, we have a calendar page now that will be listing some more upcoming TILO Presents events, as well as some other webinars presented. These two here next week are from Spark, from Eric and Anthony at Spark. So we have a form at the top of this page if people want to add some more suggestions for things to put on this calendar. So feel free to use that, and we'll get those on there as soon as we can. We have several more scheduled for later in January and December and January, actually. So you'll be seeing some emails come out about that. Okay. So I think we'll wrap it up with that. See if Fran, do you have anything else that you'd like to share with the group?
No, I don't have anything else. I'll do my 10-second commercial here. I do professional development consulting, and I work with schools in all different methods, whether it's online or webinars or in person. So if you need me to come in and talk, or to teach, or to train, I'd be happy to do that. And my contact information is at the front on that very first slide.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us for our third TILO Presents session. And again, this will be available for recording at this link, as well as the other links available on our page and in the website for those of you that registered. We appreciate your time again, Fran. Thanks again. And we look forward to more events like this that you all share with us. And those of you that want to give some feedback, we love to have your feedback. Thanks again, and I'm going to sign off here. Okay. Thanks again.